This is Walmart in Oklahoma City. No ethanol in the gas. And $2.31 a gallon. So for 20 bucks, you're going to get 8.6 gallons. Ice on the pool. That's a rarity. Well, if you live in Vladivostok, you're just into the new year, 2018. But if you're here in Oklahoma, you're 15 degrees, which is unusual. Very windy, so the wind chill's big. And still in 2017. We're going to do a cold start of these two old Arctic Cat sleds. Alright. The one on the right is a Panther 440. It's about 38 horsepower. The one on the left is a Jag 2000, which originally had about 20 horsepower, had a 275, but I shoehorned a 500cc Pantera engine in it with dual carburetors. start, but I don't have a battery in it. I think I'm going to fire them both up and just let them run for a little bit. Okay. Welcome everybody to my garage. Here we have a 5-horse Craftsman Snowblower. It's been giving me problems. I tried to start it up to bring it into the garage to fix the hunt problem. It hunts at idle, which is telling me the idle circuit's partially blocked. I've never cleaned it out, the carburetor that is, so I'm going to have a look at that. Pardon the way I'm dressed. Very cold outside, just came in from doing a cold start on the snowmobiles. Got the kerosene going in here, so I'm going to have to be careful with the gas because I have an open flame. That's one thing you have to be very careful about. So I'll have my fire extinguishers and a couple of bottles of water to help in the event that we do have an accident, but we are not. Just need to be safe. A couple of things about this. Has a primer bulb on the side right here, and I don't think it's doing anything. That might be the reason why it won't start. It still has the hunt problem. Let's give it a spark check first and see if we've got some spark. Let's see here. This has to be that stop, so that's got to be there, and that's there. Okay, let's see if we got any spark. I'll have to block you here. Pardon me. You can see that? Pretty good little spark right there, so I think if we put some gas in it, it'll go. We'll squirt of gas in it. That'll be good. Screw that back on. Put that on. I'm not going to tighten it up. Let's see. Full choke. Probably. Up there. It'll go. What we're going to do is I'm going to take the face off of this and look at this primer thing here, because I don't think it's working. It's not priming. And I need to take the carburetor off also. And we're going to clean that up, take it apart, and clean it up and see. Okay. Let's see if we can take this apart and fix it. Probably ought to put a pair of gloves on, since the wife likes clean hands. Most women do. Let's see. Yeah, there's 5 in that one. I did buy the alien gloves with 7. Incidentally, Hazard Fraud has pretty good gloves on the cheap, and they're pretty heavy. Not a lot of feel to them, but you can use them over and over again. Most of your snow throwers don't have air filters. They have just a box, and this keeps the big chunks out because they know you're not operating it in the desert. Got a wire down there, so we're just going to let that hang. Yeah, it's the switch. Makes a contact there to shut it on, turn it on and turn it off. Here's our carburetor. Looks like we have ourselves a hose, albeit it looks like it was a hose at one time. It isn't now. It was once made out of rubber. It's not any longer. That looks pretty straightforward. Okay, what do we got here? What's that all about? Oh, that overrides the governor is what that does. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, okay. Yeah, first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to pinch off our gas line. So it'll go flowing all over to the dark side over there and blow us up. Get a little pinch. We might be replacing that too. That looks like it was once a gas line, but it's not any longer. Some bolts underneath there. Looks like it's got a little intake. Might be easier to take the intake off. Leave that on because we just need up in the float bowl essentially is what we need. Less parts. Take less parts off. That's what I was told. This old drill doesn't have a lot of cheech left in it. I let it smoke out one day. Let a little bit of the smoke out. Not all of it. Yeah, let's see here. That's a big one. Put their vice grips on that, maybe. Oh yeah, that fits in there. I like these square shank screwdrivers if you can find them. And you can put a fair bit of cheech on them. Because I would have never got that with my hands. And we'll put this out of there. See what you got. That'd be one. That'd be two. Linkage here. I have to disconnect the linkage. It looks like it's in the third hole, so we're going to keep it in the third hole. You have to make mental notes of this stuff. Goes back in there the right way. Come out of there. There you go. And it looks like if we disconnect our fuel line, Bob will be our uncle. Let's see here. Yeah? Okay, I'll be in a minute. Ooh, lunch is ready. Let's see if I can try this fuel line off there. That looks like it's going to give us some help. Yeah. Get up underneath there with a screwdriver. See if we can't. There's something there. Yeah, let's see here. Oh, that's a nice one right there. And then this hose snakes around here to prime it. I have a feeling that I'm going to have to replace it because it's not rubber anymore. It's turned into a soft goo-like substance. Okay, there she is. I decided I wouldn't take the carburetor off of this. It's got bolts on the other side. A little hard to reach, and it's a little easier just to take the manifold right off the engine. Came off with the gasket too. Looks like in one piece. So we should be able to stick that right back on. But I want up underneath there. Alright, let me shut you off. Get back to this. We're back at the carburetor for the snowblower. And giving up close of that, you can see that somebody's been in there. It's got some JB Weld on the bottom. I don't know why, but it does. Okay, we're going to take this bowl off, and we have to keep an eye on this because the float chamber is in here, the float's in here. This has a little, like a step to it, so we have to keep an eye on where it is in relation, even if it's supposed to be there or not. I don't know. We'll have to look at that and study that a little. So we'll take this off of there. I'm not going to adjust this screw. I'll leave it be. Okay. And take this. Yeah. Evidently it had a hole in it. Looked like the float bowl had a hole in it and it was fixed. So I don't know what that happened. What happened there? Now you can see as the pin here is not, the float opens and closes like this. So indeed that is correct. So essentially when the float comes down, it's got a little more space right here in the bottom of the bowl. So we're going to take that needle out of there in the float just to keep it from falling out. This little pin comes out of there as such, like that, and we're going to pull that out of there. I don't think we're going to have a problem with that. The carburetor's nice and clean inside, I can tell you that. There's a... see if we can see anything in there. If we can find the idle circuit. This is obviously the main. The idle circuit, where would it be? Should be next to it. Okay. We'll have to get a flashlight and look in that and study it a little more. So I'm going to shut you off right now till I find out what exactly is wrong with this, and I'll let you know. As I looked at this more, there isn't an idle jet, but I did not see this adjustment screw. So you have an air screw here. I can probably adjust that and make the mixture a little fatter and stop it from hunting at idle. That's probably what I'm going to do. I got me some hose here also, and this is going to replace this this terrible stuff that I had on there that was once rubber, that is no longer rubber. But, okay, we'll put this back together and we'll make an adjustment on that screw. Well, I should have videoed it, but we had a little intermission, and a friend of mine had come over, and he has this little teeny wood stove for like army tent or something, and the door was made out of some really thin metal, And so he bought this piece, and I wish he wouldn't have bought it because I have some 1/8 inch that would have worked better and never worked. Maybe never. I can't say never, never say never. This is going to work too, but he seemed to think it wasn't going to. Maybe it won't. Cut out a new door there, and we used my drill press and drilled some holes and things like that so he could mount his new door. Anyways, he was ecstatic that he got a new door put on that because he doesn't have tools to do that with. So anyways, he had gotten a new chainsaw for Christmas, and because his old one was giving him trouble, and the trouble was with the chain adjuster. He had bought a bar for it that didn't have a screw adjustment on it, so he got a new chainsaw. Well, you know, there's nothing wrong with that chainsaw. I have one exactly like it. Now, when you don't have money, the best thing you can do is the best thing you can do. And that's what I did, is I bought this little Poulan, and it was $100 or something like that at Home Depot or Lowe's or one of those places. And what it has done, it's shat its crank seals. So now when you pull it, it doesn't suck gasoline from the carburetor, it just sucks air. And the reason why the crank seals went bad in it is the oil I was using. Let me explain something to you. You need to use the Poulan oil or weed eater oil or something, air-cooled stuff. And because the air-cooled stuff has a different formula in it than this does. And you just say this is peak 2-cycle engine oil. Oh, it should be fine in there. The TCW3 stands for two-stroke, but it's water-cooled, and it's the third formula of the water-cooled formula, and that's it's kind of like automatic transmission fluid. It's all the same, but it will adversely affect your seals. If you put F-type transmission fluid in a Dextron car or something like that, the fluid's all the same. It's hydraulic fluid. It has to do with the seals. And so something like this for the Sea-Doo out there, it does have the same deal, I believe. Watercraft engines, yeah. So this was meant for watercraft engines. You put this in those chainsaws and it'll tear them up, I believe. So, anyways, that's for another project. My brother had a problem with his also, is he had a still leaf blower that crapped its seals as well because my father wasn't using the right oil for it. So anyways, this is going to be for another project. All right, let's get back to the snowblower. We're back at snowblower, and I put the carburetor on. This gasket right here, I put a little ultra copper on it, both sides. And I also put a little ultra copper on the gasket of the float bowl just to help. It looked kind of sketchy. Here's our hose we're going to use, and it comes up through this little deal. And I thought for a minute, gee, I'll bet you that's just pressed in there. And it was. The little primer bulb's just pressed in there. So I just pried it out. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach this hose to this using a barb or something. And I'm going to pull it through so the whole thing comes. That way I don't have to take this piece off. And if I don't have to take this piece off, then it'll be a lot better. When I put the carburetor back on, I was looking at this hose here. It looks like it'll go again. It's not leaking. And you have to put your linkage back in there. Make sure you get it in the right holes. So I have to hold my camera because my tripod has been absconded with. So somebody else is using it, so I'll have to fake it. Maybe I'll take this hose and put it on that little Pechka right there. get it hot first before I draw it through there. Probably come through there a lot better. Probably. Okay. Okay, I was able to snake that through there, and I didn't tie it to the other one. What I did is I just put it through, and there wasn't anything through. Get in the way there, and it just kind of come out and went around. Now, when I push it, I have resistance here. I didn't have any resistance before. And now I have resistance, and watch what happens when I push it. It floods that venturi with gas. I see how you are now. So this ought to work well now. I ought to be able to prime it now. Okay. Also, I want to add, it has this ignition switch right here, and it has a key. You're supposed to be able to put a key in it, but somebody's put the key in it and broke it off. So it's perpetually on. But there's another way to shut it off, is you just push this all the way down and it shuts it off also, which is kind of odd why they would have two deals there. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this up and set this kind of on a medium, slow sort of. Our choke works right there. I'm going to start this up, and I'm going to try to adjust the screw to get it where it's not hunting. So we'll see what happens. Okay, what I did is this was out quite a ways, and I turned it in about a full turn, and I had to work the choke while I was doing that. I had to run it on just a partial choke in order to make it run, because it would hunt. So I think I've got that fixed. Now I can put it back together. Did I tighten the spark plug? I need to tighten the spark plug too if I haven't done that. But I'm good with that. I'm happy with that now. It's got clean oil in it, I'm sure. Yes. Haven't ran it very much. Okay. I'll put her together then. Alright, I'm happy with that. So our next project is going to be our little Poulan there.